Hello friends, welcome to the channel. Today, we are going to explore 21 timeless quotes by Aristotle. But this is not just a collection of quotes. With every quote, I will explain its deeper meaning, its philosophy, and how you can apply it in your own life. So, watch this video till the end, because every quote has the power to change the way you think. Now, let's begin. Knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom. In this timeless quote, the great philosopher Aristotle is teaching us a fundamental lesson about life and intelligence. He is explaining that true wisdom doesn't come from reading thousands of books or accumulating endless information about the world. Instead, it begins within you. When Aristotle says, knowing yourself, he means looking deep inside. It means having the honesty to recognize your true strengths, accept your weaknesses, and understand your core values, emotions, and motivations. Think about it this way: if you do not understand your own mind and emotions, how can you make wise decisions? Without self-awareness, we often react out of anger, fear, or the desire to please others. We live our lives based on what society expects, rather than what is truly right for us. Knowing yourself gives you clarity. It helps you control your reactions, choose your path with confidence, and build genuine relationships. Self-awareness is the root, wisdom is the tree that grows from it. So, before trying to master the world around you, take a moment to master yourself. Because that is where all true wisdom begins. Now, moving on to our second quote, where Aristotle says, happiness depends upon ourselves. In this powerful insight, Aristotle shifts our focus to the true nature of happiness. Most people spend their entire lives searching for happiness outside of themselves. They believe happiness comes from money, status, physical comfort, or the approval of others. But Aristotle reminds us that true happiness is not something that happens to us from the outside, it is an internal state of being that we build. When he says, happiness depends upon ourselves, he is teaching us about personal responsibility and inner strength. External circumstances, people, and situations will always change and remain unpredictable. If your peace and joy depend on external conditions, your happiness will always be unstable. Aristotle believed that real happiness comes from living a life of purpose, making wise choices, and mastering your own thoughts. It is about how you choose to react to life's challenges, how you treat others, and how you align your daily actions with your values. Ultimately, this quote is a strong reminder that you hold the keys to your own joy. Stop waiting for external things to make you happy. Take full ownership of your mind and your choices, because true happiness is entirely up to you. Let's dive into another brilliant thought from Aristotle. He writes, the roots of education are bitter, but the fruit is sweet. With these words, Aristotle captures the ultimate reality of learning and personal growth. Learning something new, mastering a skill, or building a disciplined life is never easy. The process, the roots, often feels painful, frustrating, and exhausting. It requires late nights, hard work, overcoming failure, and pushing past your comfort zone. That struggle is the bitter part Aristotle is referring to. Most people give up during this stage because they focus only on the hardship. But Aristotle reminds us to look at the bigger picture. If you endure the bitter struggle of learning and self-discipline, the outcome, the fruit, will always be sweet. That fruit is knowledge, financial independence, respect, wisdom, and the freedom to build a better life for yourself. Whenever you feel like quitting on your goals or your studies, remember this truth: the effort might feel heavy today, but the reward will be worth every single drop of sweat. Embrace the struggle, because sweet success is waiting on the other side. Building on that idea of true education, Aristotle gives us our fourth timeless quote: it is the mark of an educated mind to be able to entertain a thought without accepting it. This is perhaps one of Aristotle's most profound lessons on intelligence and open-mindedness. When Aristotle says, entertain a thought, he means having the mental maturity to listen to an idea, analyze it, and understand it, even if you completely disagree with it. An educated person doesn't react with immediate anger or judgment when they hear a different opinion. Instead, they examine it calmly from all angles without letting it control or change their core beliefs. In today's fast-paced world, most people either blindly accept whatever agrees with their existing views, or violently reject anything that challenges them. Aristotle warns us against both extremes. True intelligence isn't about knowing everything or agreeing with everyone. It is about emotional control, critical thinking, and patience. Being able to explore different perspectives without losing your own ground is the real test of a mature and truly educated mind. So now, let's move on to our fifth quote: the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. This is a classic principle about teamwork, harmony, and unity. What Aristotle is trying to explain here is that when different individual elements come together, they create something far more powerful than what each part could ever achieve on its own. Think of it like a sports team or a musical orchestra. A single musician playing an instrument sounds nice, but when an entire orchestra plays together, they create a grand symphony. A single person working alone has limits, but when a team unites with a shared purpose, they can achieve incredible things that no one could do individually. This philosophy applies to everything in life, our relationships, our workplaces, and even our own personal habits. When small, good efforts unite toward a bigger goal, the final result becomes extraordinary. It reminds us that unity and collaboration will always be stronger than isolated effort. And that brings us to our sixth quote from Aristotle: "For the things we have to learn before we can do them, we learn by doing them." In this powerful statement, Aristotle reveals the true secret of mastery in practical learning. Think about how we usually approach new skills, whether it's speaking in public, starting a business, writing, or mastering our art. We spend endless time reading books, watching tutorials, and waiting for the perfect moment when we feel ready. But Aristotle reminds us of a simple truth: you can never truly feel ready until you actually begin. He is telling us that action comes before confidence, not after it. You don't learn to swim by reading about water, you learn by jumping in. You will make mistakes, you will fumble, and that is completely natural. The process of doing is where real wisdom and experience are forged. So stop overthinking and waiting for perfection. Start where you are, use what you have, and learn through the process of taking action. Because action is the ultimate teacher. Once you start taking action, Aristotle points us to another essential truth in our seventh quote: "Pleasure in the job puts perfection in the work." This quote connects directly to how we approach everything we do in life. When you force yourself to do something purely out of obligation, fear, or external pressure, the output is often average. You drag your feet, get distracted, and just want to finish it somehow. But when you find joy, interest, and genuine pleasure in what you do, your mindset completely transforms. Aristotle explains that perfection isn't achieved by stressed-out perfectionism, it is a natural byproduct of passion and involvement. When you love the process, you pay attention to the smallest details, you stay patient through difficulties, and you naturally give your absolute best. Whether it is your career, a creative hobby, or learning a new skill, strive to find purpose and enjoyment in the task itself. Because when love for your work leads the way, perfection and excellence naturally follow. When you pour that kind of love and perfection into your work, society often rewards you with recognition. But Aristotle teaches us how to look at respect and status in our eighth quote: "Dignity does not consist in possessing honors, but in deserving them." In this profound truth, Aristotle draws a clear line between external praise and internal self-worth. In today's world, people constantly chase titles, awards, fame, and public approval. But Aristotle reminds us that receiving an honor or a trophy doesn't automatically make you a noble person. Anyone can acquire awards through luck, money, or politics, but true dignity is something money cannot buy. Your real self-worth doesn't come from what others give you, it comes from who you are when no one is watching. It lies in your character, your integrity, and the genuine effort you put into your life every single day. When you focus on becoming worthy of respect rather than just chasing it, you build an unshakable inner dignity. Never measure your worth by the trophies on your shelf, but by the virtue, character, and humility in your heart. And that inner humility is precisely what opens the door to infinite growth. This leads us seamlessly into our ninth quote: "The more you know, the more you realize how much you do not know." Here, Aristotle addresses the paradox of knowledge and the power of true intellectual humility. When people only have a superficial understanding of a topic, they often fall into the trap of overconfidence. They assume they know everything. But as you dig deeper, study more, and expand your perspective, you begin to see the vast ocean of wisdom that lies ahead of you. Aristotle shows us that true wisdom doesn't make you arrogant, it makes you humble. The more a person truly learns, the more aware they become of their own limitations and the complexity of the universe. Think of knowledge like a circle. As the circle of what you know expands, so does the perimeter of what you don't know, touching the darkness outside. Never let a little success or knowledge blind you into thinking you've reached the end of learning. Stay curious, stay humble, and keep exploring, because a truly wise mind remains a student for life. When you look beyond the surface level of knowledge, you begin to appreciate the deeper meaning behind everything around you. This shifts our view straight into our 10th quote: "The aim of art is to represent not the outward appearance of things, but their inward significance." With this insight, Aristotle redefines the purpose of art, creativity, and human expression. Anyone can capture the physical form of an object or a person. But Aristotle explains that true art goes much deeper than just copying what the eyes can see. The real purpose of art, whether it's painting, music, storytelling, or filmmaking, is to capture the hidden emotion, the soul, and the inner truth behind it. Think about a powerful song, a captivating film, or a piece of painting. What makes it unforgettable isn't just its technique, it's the feeling it evokes in your heart. It makes you feel love, grief, hope, or courage. This lesson extends far beyond creativity into our everyday lives. Do not judge people, situations, or work simply by how they look on the outside. Look deeper, seek the meaning, the intention, and the heart behind things, because that is where the true essence of life resides. And once you learn to look deeper for the truth, you realize just how critical it is to stay aligned with that truth right from the start. This brings us to our 11th quote: the least initial deviation from the truth is multiplied later 1,000-fold. Here, Aristotle warns us about a fundamental law of life, principles, and progress. Think about a ship setting sail. If its compass is off by just one single degree at the beginning, it might seem harmless at first. But as the ship continues to travel, that tiny mistake pushes it hundreds of miles away from its original destination. The exact same thing happens in our daily lives. A small lie, a minor compromise in your values, or ignoring a tiny error in your plans, might feel insignificant today. But over time, these small deviations compound, leading to major failures, broken trust, and self-doubt down the road. Aristotle reminds us to guard our foundations. Be honest with yourself in the small choices, correct your mistakes early, and never compromise on core principles. Because when your foundation is built on absolute truth, every step you take leads you toward real, lasting success. And when you commit to living in truth, a natural curiosity awakens within you. This brings us to our 12th quote: all men by nature desire to know. This simple, yet foundational statement, is actually the very opening line of Aristotle's famous work, Metaphysics. Here, Aristotle captures the ultimate driving force behind human evolution and civilization. Think about a small child. Nobody teaches a child to ask why. They explore, they touch things, and they ask endless questions, simply because curiosity is hardwired into human nature. We don't just want to survive, we want to understand. Whether it's discovering fire, building sciences, creating art, or exploring outer space, humanity's greatest achievements stem from this innate desire to know and comprehend the world around us. Aristotle is reminding us that learning is not a burden or a chore. It is our natural state of being. Whenever you feel bored, stuck, or uninspired in life, it is usually because you have stopped exploring. Feed your natural curiosity, keep asking questions, and never lose that spark of wanting to understand the world better every single day. And as we observe this natural desire to know within ourselves, we realize something even deeper about how the world works. This brings us directly to our 13th quote: nature does nothing in vain. Here, Aristotle reveals one of the most powerful principles of his philosophy, that everything in the universe exists with a specific purpose. Look at the world around you. The roots of a tree exist to gather nourishment, the wings of a bird exist to fly, and seasons change to maintain the balance of life. Nothing in nature happens by accident, and nothing is wasted. And this applies to you as well. Your talents, your curiosity, your passions, and even the challenges you face in life, are not random. They exist for a reason. Nature did not give you a mind capable of grand dreams and deep thoughts, to let it go to waste. Aristotle reminds us to trust the larger design of life, and to discover our own purpose. When you feel lost or uncertain, remember that you are a part of nature, and nature creates nothing without meaning. You have a purpose, a role to play, so align yourself with your true potential and make every moment count. And if nature creates nothing without a purpose, then how did nature intend for us as human beings to live? This brings us to our 14th quote: man is by nature a political animal. Now, when we hear the word political today, we immediately think of elections, parties, or government debates. But Aristotle meant something far deeper. In ancient Greek philosophy, the word political comes from polis, which means community or society. Aristotle is reminding us that human beings are not meant to live in total isolation. We are hardwired to connect, to build families, to form communities, and to cooperate with one another. An individual living entirely outside of society, according to Aristotle, must either be a wild beast or a god. Because it is only through living together in a community that we develop empathy, language, morality, and justice. Remember, your life finds its highest purpose not in solitude, but in how you contribute to the people around you. We are designed to grow together, to support one another, and to build a better society. And when human beings come together to live as a society, they need rules and structure to maintain harmony and justice. This leads us directly to our 15th quote: the law is reason, free from passion. Here, Aristotle explains the very core of fairness, justice, and sound decision-making. When decisions are driven by personal emotions, such as anger, greed, fear, or favoritism, they often lead to bias and injustice. Humans are easily swayed by their feelings in the heat of the moment. That is why Aristotle asserts that true law must be pure reason, completely detached from emotional impulses. Law is meant to be a neutral, objective anchor that applies equally to everyone, regardless of status, power, or personal desires. This wisdom is just as important for our personal lives today. When you face conflict or need to make important choices, step back from intense emotional reactions. Let clarity, logic, and fairness guide your actions rather than temporary mood swings. Because decisions born out of calm reason will always stand the test of time. And while calm reason guides our choices, it is something deeper inside that keeps us moving forward when times get tough. This brings us to our 16th quote: hope is a waking dream. In just 5 simple words, Aristotle captures the poetic essence of human ambition and resilience. When you sleep, dreams happen to you passively. You have no control over them. But hope is a dream you choose to envision while you are wide awake. It is the conscious vision of a better future, born out of your purpose and desire. Aristotle is teaching us that hope is not just idle wishful thinking. A waking dream is an active force. It fuels your drive, keeps your spirit alive during dark moments, and gives you the courage to take action today for a better tomorrow. Without hope, even the most logical plans lose their momentum. Never let go of your waking dream. Hold on to hope, let it illuminate your path through difficulties, and use it as the spark to transform your vision into reality. And when we hold on to that waking dream, how does our mind actually construct these thoughts and visions? This brings us to our 17th quote: the soul never thinks without a picture. Here, Aristotle unveils a fascinating truth about cognitive science and the human mind. Whenever you think of a goal, a memory, a fear, or a future dream, your brain does not process abstract text. It immediately creates a mental image, a visual representation inside your mind. If you think of the word success, your mind doesn't see spelling. It pictures you achieving something, smiling, or overcoming a challenge. Aristotle realized centuries ago that our inner visuals shape our reality. The pictures you continuously feed into your mind directly influence your emotions, your attitude, and ultimately your choices. If you constantly picture failure and doubt, your soul will feel heavy and hopeless. But if you visualize growth, resilience, and success, you align your inner self toward achieving those goals. Be mindful of the mental pictures you paint each day. Feed your mind with images of courage, hope, and determination, because the art you create inside your mind determines the life you build on the outside. And as we paint these powerful pictures of our goals inside our mind, we must remember the one unstoppable force that governs everything around us: time. This brings us to our 18th quote: time crumbles things, everything grows old under the power of time. Here, Aristotle presents a profound reality about impermanence and the nature of time. Look around. Great empires rise and fall, mighty mountains erode, physically, youth fades, and even the grandest monuments eventually crumble to dust. Nothing physical in this universe is immune to the passage of time. Aristotle reminds us that time waits for no one. While time has the power to decay material things, it also gives us a precious window of opportunity right now. Understanding that time is limited should not make us sad, it should wake us up. It creates a healthy sense of urgency. Do not postpone your dreams, do not leave important words unsaid, and do not waste your moments on meaningless distractions. Respect the power of time. Use it wisely today, to build something meaningful, something whose impact endures long after time has played its part. And as we realize how rapidly time passes, we begin to observe life with a much deeper level of awareness. This brings us to our 19th quote: to perceive is to suffer. Here, Aristotle points to a profound aspect of human consciousness and perception. When you are unaware or ignorant of things, life often feels simple and undisturbed. But the moment you start to truly observe, understand, and perceive the world around you, you become deeply affected by it. Perception opens your senses to both joy and pain. You begin to notice not just your own struggles, but the passage of time, the reality of change, and the suffering of others. The wiser and more observant you become, the more sensitive your mind becomes to the world's complexities. In ancient philosophy, to suffer didn't just mean physical distress. It meant to be affected, to allow life's experiences to touch and transform your inner self. Aristotle reminds us that deep understanding comes at a price. True growth requires us to feel deeply, to be moved by truth, and to embrace the emotional weight of being conscious. Do not fear being deeply affected by life. Embrace your perception, let it build empathy within you, and use that heightened awareness to live a more meaningful, compassionate, and authentic life. And when life's deep awareness brings us face to face with pain and difficulties, how do we choose to respond? This brings us to our 20th quote: the beauty of the soul shines when a person bears adversity with composure. Here, Aristotle provides a powerful climax to human character and inner strength. It is easy to stay calm and kind when everything in life goes smoothly. But true character is never tested in good times. The genuine beauty of your inner self, your soul, is revealed when life throws unexpected storms at you. Adversity acts like a fire. It either destroys you, or it refines you into pure gold. Aristotle explains that bearing hardships with composure, with quiet dignity, patience, and mental balance, is the highest sign of nobility. It shows that your outer circumstances cannot conquer your inner peace. When facing tough times, do not react with anger, bitterness, or despair. Stand firm, maintain your composure, hold on to your integrity, and remember that every hardship is an opportunity for your soul's beauty to shine brightly. Because in the end, stars shine brightest in the darkest nights, and a noble mind remains beautiful, no matter how fierce the storm. And as we learn to face life's storms with inner composure, we quickly realize that no one is meant to fight these battles entirely alone. This brings us to our 21st quote: "Without friends no one would choose to live, though he had all other goods." Here, Aristotle reveals a profound truth about human nature, wealth, and deep emotional fulfillment. Imagine having all the money in the world, unlimited power, luxury, and endless achievements. But imagine having no one to share your joy with, no one to talk to when you are hurting, and no one who truly understands you. Without genuine connection, all material success becomes empty, cold, and meaningless. Aristotle considered friendship, or philia, to be one of the highest virtues in human existence. True friends don't just double our joy, they divide our grief. In prosperity, friends give purpose to our success, and in adversity, friends become our safe sanctuary and refuge. Never trade genuine relationships for superficial gains. Value the people who stand by you, cultivate true, honest friendships, and remember that the richest person in the world is not the one with the most gold, but the one with the truest souls by their side. So friends, with this, our journey through these 21 timeless quotes of Aristotle comes to an end. But remember, these were not just historical words to be admired, they are living principles to be practiced every single day. When you apply this ancient wisdom to your modern life, something powerful happens. You learn to think wisely, cutting through confusion and emotional noise. You learn to act virtuously, making choices that build unshakable inner character. You learn to grow continuously, using every hardship and every moment of time to elevate yourself. And above all, you learn to live meaningfully, building genuine relationships and living with true purpose. If even a single quote from these 21 lessons becomes a part of your daily life, it will shift the way you think, the way you make decisions, and ultimately, it will transform the way you live. Knowledge is simply knowing the right path, but wisdom is having the courage to walk it. If this video added value to your life, please hit the like button. Share these powerful principles with your friends and family, and subscribe to the channel so you never miss a dose of timeless wisdom. Thank you so much for watching. Keep learning, keep growing, and always, keep seeking the truth.